Sun the Bun, cute name, asks, is there any lore / hidden meaning behind the visuals and lyrics in Dear Diary? Ooh, good question. Any Easter eggs?
I think one thing people didn't notice is that I was using that diary in previous videos for quite a while, or I had them like hidden in Instagram posts. Like I would write notes in it and share it like that. And it shows up in a few other future videos as well. So I kind of wanted to keep it thematically kind of weaved in there.
Yeah, and speaking of diary, I know that you have some other merch that you brought. I want to save this one for last because it's so cute. Look at this. That is a Dear Diary. Oh, the back is so cute. I love it. I love the idea of somebody just like popping on this album and writing their romantic thoughts or their anger or just getting whatever feeling out there. And I guess I have to ask, do you keep a diary?
I keep a very chaotic notes app.
Yeah, valid.
Yeah, I would say that's about it. That's where everything goes.
You know, who can be bothered? I love the idea of writing in a physical thing, but my problem is I always don't think that my thoughts are like worth breaking that first page. And so it's way easier to just like fart something out in the notes app. But I think that seeing it now, it's just like, it's such a vibe having a hard copy of your thoughts. And so challenging myself and challenging you all, buy that journal and start journaling in 2023. Do it. Keep a diary. I want to talk a little bit about, you were just saying like you have experienced fear with being a singer and being a vocalist. How were you able to conquer that? Because I'm actually going through a similar thing right now. Finding your voice can be really scary and really, really challenging. So do you have any advice for me and for anybody in the chat who is currently trying to kind of find their power in their voice?
Oh, man. I don't know. I mean, I think I still really, really struggle with it, but you just kind of have to not care what people think, which is so
I'll try that sometime.
It's so difficult, but you just kind of have to tune it all out and listen to yourself. And I think the more true to you that you are in whatever you're pursuing, the better it'll be received.
I love that. I also, on that, I feel like that is a way to work on caring less about what people think, right? Is just finding what's true to you. Do you have any rituals or any things that you've done in the past that help you feel aligned with like your North Star?
Oh, man. I would say sometimes I just like, this is dumb, but I just like going back and watching some old stuff. One, to see like how far I've come, but I mean, I think even before like this EP came out, it was produced a while ago. It's kind of been sitting there for a while, and I thought about it and I was like, I don't know if this is any good. But then I watched the video back and I was like, okay, this is good.
Yeah. Well, that can change all the time, right? Depending on where you are in the process. Like whether you're in, like for me, editing, film is like, oh, I've seen this joke a million times. I can't tell if this is even funny anymore. But then taking a little break and going back. And also to your point of going back to see where you used to be as a creative person, that's such great advice, because we really forget how far we come when we're working on something every day, and that's anything. Okay, we got some more live questions. And also, you guys, just want to remind you, for anyone who is joining just now, that we are going to get a kick-ass performance from Alex after we go to break and then talk some more and then go to break again. But in between that, we're going to listen to some songs and watch some music videos, so it's going to be a ball. That Kid Sick asks, what's your thought process when it comes to music lyrics? The little shiny eyes emoji and magic. And also That Kid Sick asks, any dream collabs? Great questions all around.
So for lyrics, I think I write songs in a way that isn't really conventional. Like, I said my chaotic notes app. A lot of times I'll just like write down like a phrase or like an idea, and then maybe it'll sit there for like 3 years, and then I'll kind of revisit it. Like sometimes I'll make the music separately, and then I'll be like, okay, this idea could be really great with it. So sometimes it's just kind of like that. Like, I think, honestly, I don't think my lyrics are super great, but conceptually, I think that's kind of how I think of songs. It's like, this is the idea that I want to make a song about.
When you say you don't think your lyrics are that great, I'm going to grill you about this because your lyrics fit perfectly with the musical story with this album that you're trying to tell. And I'm really excited to hear from you about the theming of this album. But on a first listen, and by the way, this is genuine. When I found out I was interviewing you, I listened to it and then I kept listening to it and have listened to it truly every day for the last week. So it's telling a clear story. And to me, like, yeah, you have your singer-songwriters, like you were mentioning, who are like really, really interested in painting metaphors and telling narrative stories. And that's all good and valid. But what you do is and what you have done with this album is tell such a clear story with the full picture. I'm curious to what you would want more from yourself in terms of lyrics.
I don't know. I think in the newer stuff that I've been writing, I've actually kind of been approaching it like a journal or like a diary entry. Because growing up, when I didn't think that I was going to be a musician, I thought I was going to be like a writer. So I think my prose is much better than my songwriting has been in the past. So with, the new stuff that I've been working on, a lot of times I'll just like open up a book and write down all my thoughts. And I'm like, this is exactly what I want to say. And then let me find a way to put it into a song.
Yeah. I mean, I feel like that's a wonderful task to give yourself because it also helps you, I imagine, helps you with like an overarching theme for, a presentation like this. And these are all mostly songs, except for, I think, a few that have been released as singles beforehand. So before I know that we are rapidly approaching our break time, but I want to talk a little bit about the EP before we really go down track by track. What is the story that you wanted to tell with this album? And also, I guess I would wonder where it started.
Yeah, so I started producing it, I would say, like in early 2021, and it was probably finished halfway through the year. But I think kind of contextually, it was like peak COVID. Mm-hmm. And I live alone and I like work alone. So I was kind of going through a period where there'd be like a whole week when I just like wouldn't see another human being or like step foot outside of my door. And it was like kind of isolating. So I think in that time I had a lot of time to think about all of my thoughts and all of my feelings and maybe like, things that I've been suppressing that, I don't know, that it just all came to a head because when there's nothing to do, it's like, what do they say? Like the idle brain is the like the
idle hands are the devil's playthings.
Yeah.
I love the devil, so yeah. Don't ask me.
Yeah, you're alone with your thoughts, and you can like drive yourself crazy that way.
Totally, so. Yeah. Well, and that's also not to make light out of a terrible situation, but that was one good thing that I think a lot of people got from the quarantine was time to really assess what they're passionate about, and also just straight up like time alone to do those things that we've been putting off. And on that, I know a lot of people, including like my husband, everybody works from home now, which is so great. But for a lot of people, that was their first time doing that. And I saw a TikTok where you mentioned that you have a 9-to-5 job. I really want to talk about this because you are my definition. Of course, everybody defines success differently, but I see you and I see success. I see you as somebody who has successfully launched a legitimate music career, right? What would you say to people? Because I think that it sort of, your honesty kind of demystifies the idea that like success has lots of different meanings, especially as a creative person, as a musician, about, what people who might want to get into this career should expect in terms of like straight up money.
In terms of money, I went into my basically, I went into like my DistroKid account and looked at my history, and I was like, okay, $8,000. All of these years, $8,000, and I think all of the money that I've made has gone directly back into the music. So, I mean, I do this because I want to, and I do this because I have to. Like,
Yeah.
I just want to make myself feel better, you
I-
know? So,
Yes. I have seen so many people who view even, you know, an artist who has found like a lot of success on TikTok, for example. And the assumption is always that they're like rolling in it. And I don't know where that comes from. But I'm going to use that as a segue to say support artists by buying all of their merch, support them by going on tour when they eventually go on tour. And there's also one more cute piece of merch that we have right here, which is just a little photo book. And it's got the photo cards in it. Just like your favorite, like K-pop idols. I thought that was so cute. So just support your favorite artists, because, you know, Spotify ain't it, really. And I really love that you included that, because having that sort of transparency about, like, you know, having to have a job to support the thing that you are here to do is an unfortunate reality of capitalism. But that's a conversation for another day. Let's go to an audience question. Elfimi asks, what are some of your favorite artists of all time, and what are key moments in your life that you take inspiration from? That's a lovely question. Thank you for that.
ooh. I would say some of the most formative artists would maybe be Avril Lavigne, because I loved her. There was one year, I think, I went into a CD store and I picked up No Doubt's Rocksteady because I liked the way it looked. I was like, this is so cute. So I took it home and I listened to that over and over again. And I was
Iconic album.
I love No Doubt. But I think also a big thing was just like Lana Del Rey coming out. And that's like, I don't make music even like remotely like her, but I think hearing her voice, like I felt, okay, I'm not like an Ariana Grande singer, you know, but seeing like Lana Del Rey sing like that, and like, you know, her voice and her stylings and her falsetto, I was like, wow, okay, I can do that. Like, I can express myself in that way.
Yeah. Yeah, I feel like it's, again, with what we were talking about with how, like, your lyrics support the entire vision, Lana's a great example of, like, she's painting a full picture, and that's separate but just as valid as, like, an Ariana Grande who is voice, but not necessarily like lyrics, or, you know, she doesn't produce her own stuff. No knocking Ariana, of course, but like it's such a wonderful way to approach art, because it's like you're looking at the big picture of the story that you want to tell, which I love. We got another audience question. Thick Juicy Rat says, hey Alex, I know you just released an EP, but do you have plans for an album yet?
I've been working on it, but I don't know the timeline. I would say, you know, maybe it's like 25%, 30% done.